Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Juliet Ehimuan. I'm the country director for Google, leading our business across West Africa. It's great to be part of this Total School Support seminar and exhibition. And thank you very much for inviting me. And I'd really acknowledge Ejimark and Mrs. Ogunde for putting this together. We all know that education is a very important subject. And when we talk about marrying education and technology, that's incredibly empowering. I know there's a diversity of people in the room. We have administrators, school owners, board members, head teachers, and corporate organizations. And the expectations of each stakeholder from technology is different. As an administrator, you're probably interested in how technology can help to reduce administrative costs, from student registration to payments, payroll payments, as well as student fees, results collation, processing of transcripts, alumni management, access control, and security. As a school owner or a board member, you may be more interested in using technology to differentiate the school and students to be able to provide world-class learning to students. As a teacher, you're probably thinking about staying up to date and relevant within your field and enhancing the teaching experience with technology tools and resources that are available. Corporate organizations may be very interested in the curriculum and ensuring that students have the skills to be able to innovate in the workplace. The reality is that the world has changed. We now live in a digital world. Technology has completely transformed the way we live, the way we work, interact with one another, and increasingly, the way we learn. We're in a digital world, and the digital revolution started at the turn of this century and has really democratized access to information and is also characterized by a ubiquitous access to the internet. In the past, the most powerful companies were companies that developed physical assets, for example, automobile companies. But today, the most valued companies are software, for the most part, software companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft. Technology has become an integral part of every business, every organization, including educational institutions. And if we want to stay relevant, if we want to differentiate ourselves, it's very important to integrate technology into the core of what we do. And there are many benefits to be had by doing that. Dictionaries and encyclopedias are online. There's hardly any subject matter now that does not exist online as a tutorial, an article, an op-ed, a webinar, a video, accessible for free or at a subscription fee. The reality is that technology will continue to drive the future. Africa's biggest challenges will not be solved by traditional methods of the past. With technology advancements like artificial intelligence and machine learning that we have today, these problems can be solved in radically different ways and more cost effectively. For example, today with your smartphone and a camera, you can predict diseases, you can predict severe climate conditions like droughts, and address issues like financial inclusion for the unbanked. Education should prepare our youth for the future, and you're all playing a very important role in preparing our young people for that future. And they're starting very early. We find that kids today are using technology devices to do various things. I'd like to share the story of Osine and Aneshi, two Nigerian young men, aged 9 and 11 respectively, who built a mobile web browser. They developed an interest in computing at the age of 7 and 9 and took coding as a hobby. They decided to set up a company which they called Doors, with Microsoft Windows as an inspiration, but eventually they had to change the name to Blue Doors when they discovered that the first name was already taken. They use sites like Code Academy, Code Avengers, and books like Android for Game Development and Games for Dummies to build capacity. And they developed this web browser which they launched on the Mobango App Store. And then ultimately they moved this to the Google Play Store to be able to reach a wider audience. To date, they have over 500 downloads. If we equip our young people with technology and access to information and resources, there's no telling how far they'll go and what they'll do. They will do great things. And we're seeing a lot of examples that are testament to that fact. So I'd like to just talk about 3 applications of technology that would be of interest to a broad range of people in the room. The first is around developing students with world-class skill set. To be able to do this, we need to be able to provide access to world-class education resources. If we think about it as well, some of the changes that have happened over the years. In the past, to access the wealth of information in books, you had to go to a physical library. Today, the library of the world is online. And if you have a smartphone, you have access to the world's information at your fingertips. This is incredibly empowering. And it creates a level playing field because now a student from Covenant University or University of Lagos or Green Springs School or Meadow Hall has access to the same information as a pair at Stanford University or St. Mary's College or Harvard University. And so there's no reason why our young people cannot be the best versions of themselves. A great example of this, and there are many such examples, is the story of a Nigerian lady called Adaobi based in Abuja. Now, Adaobi was an aspiring developer, writing code at home in Abuja. Her dream was to be a skilled developer. She got a job that required her to move to Lagos. There she discovered the Google Africa Scholarships Program, which we were running in collaboration with Udacity and Andela. She applied and to her joy was accepted into the program. She had to share her time between her work and her study and would study modules on her phone in transit, sometimes in a keke marwa. Her hard work paid off and she passed her exams and became Android certified. Following that, she applied for a job as a developer. She was shocked at how smooth and easy the interview process was. Being a certified developer changed the game for her and she was offered the job, which in her words paid her 10 times her previous salary. When we talk about expanding learning outside the classroom, this is particularly important in a continent like Africa, where in a lot of our countries, there's a shortage of qualified teachers. And when you think about the population boom that is about to happen, that already exists and is about to happen, it's projected that by 2050, the African population would more than double from 1.2 billion people to 2.5 billion people. Then we really need to think about how to provide education at scale. Now, another story that really comes to mind and that I find very relevant is that of Julius Yego, a Kenyan athlete, a javelin thrower, who won the Olympic gold medal by learning how to perfect his craft through videos on YouTube. Now, Julius Yego was born into a modest family. He had a passion for sports and took an interest in javelin throwing. Of course, he could not afford to get a coach, least of all a world-class coach. And he just trained rigorously by himself to develop his physical ability. Now, browsing the internet, he found videos on YouTube of javelin throwers around the world, some of them champions. He watched how they trained and incorporated the same techniques into his training regimen. By observing other international players in this way, he realized the sport was within his grasp. He thought, I can beat these guys. He could not afford world-class coaches, as I mentioned, and so the YouTube videos filled those shoes. With persistence, hard work, and determination, Julius extracted every lesson he could from the videos and mastered his craft to the point of winning the Olympic gold medal. Now, that's a great example of someone creating opportunity for himself by leveraging the power of digital technology. For teachers who need to be constantly up to date, tools like Google Scholar can connect you with up-to-date academic research in any field. Empowered by technology, the possibilities for our young people are endless. And as I mentioned, they're starting to innovate from a very young age. There are a few more examples I'd like to share. One is, some of these are global, and there's one local example. So one is a young boy, I believe he's about 9 years old, who owns a YouTube channel called Ryan's Toy Reviews. Basically, he reviews toys. Gets that his parents saw his passion for doing this, started to record videos of him doing this, and now on his YouTube channel he has about 16 million subscribers, which is a really huge number. And we have a situation where toy manufacturers, in many cases, send their toys to him to review before launching in market. And of course, behind this, there is a monetization opportunity, which I'm sure his parents are taking advantage of. There's also the story of Marcus Brownlee, who started as a teenager on YouTube in 2009. He was 15 years old at the time. He's now 25 years old, and he was in high school when he started. What he did was, so he has a passion for electronics and would provide electronics tech reviews of electronic gadgets, hardware tutorials. He would review computers, etc. This is really about, taking passion and sharing it with the world. Today, he has about 9 million subscribers and over 1 billion views to his YouTube channel. He has become so popular that he's had Bill Gates and Elon Musk on his channel, and a lot of organizations like LG actually send their products to him for reviews before launching. These are just some examples. In Nigeria, we have a few of you, maybe all of you are familiar with Emanuela, the young girl who has talent in comedy, and her family around her have been able to just harness that to create comedic videos that are very popular and doing very well on YouTube with a fan base around the world. A lot of people have been discovered through platforms like YouTube. So I've talked about developing students with world-class skill sets. The second application I would like to talk about is in the broad area of service delivery. The use of enterprise resource planning systems can significantly enhance service provision. These are available either as off-the-shelf packages or customized solutions can be developed. Digitizing student records makes planning easier and shortens the length of transactions, for example, the processing of transcripts. Payroll and payment systems also save time, increase efficiency, and ultimately are more cost-effective. The third area of application I would like to highlight is around workplace readiness. We can augment existing curriculum by taking advantage of databases, modules, and resources online. One of the things that we as Google have committed to is providing free digital skills training to 10 million Africans in 5 years. So far, we've trained 5 million. And the reason for this is because we want to ensure that there's a basic level of digital appreciation that is available to our young people because of the power and the opportunity that that provides. We're also providing training to 200,000 developers. We've trained 60,000 so far, and this is in collaboration with Udacity and Andela. We launched the Africa Scholarships Program, and it's available for students to apply, and it's for current as well as aspiring developers. The intention around this is just to ensure that they have job-ready skills and can really build innovative solutions for industry. Which brings me to the third broad area of application, which is around workplace readiness. It's important to extend curriculum by taking advantage of learning materials that are online to be able to ensure that students have the right skill set to be able to cope with the competitive challenges within the workplace. Ongoing conversations and collaboration with private sector organizations is very important. I imagine that that's a key part of the conversations that will be happening as part of this seminar and exhibition. And there are win-win relationships that can be had and opportunities for monetization as well. On both sides, corporate organizations can be technical partners to educational institutions. Educational institutions can also provide research and development services to organizations and even training. And so that interplay is something that can be mutually beneficial. In summary, we all know that Africa has a high population of young, vibrant, and talented people. They're doing amazing things with very little, very creative. Imagine what's possible when they are further empowered and are able to amplify their work through the use of technology. If you think about the story of Anise and Osine, who built a mobile web browser at the age of 9 and 11 respectively. Let's not forget that WhatsApp was acquired a few years ago for $19 billion, and Google was started by Stanford University students. Our young people have the capacity to do great things. And with technology, in the not so distant future, I really look forward to hearing global success stories coming out of Nigeria and Africa. And you all have a very pivotal role to play in making this happen, and you're already doing a lot to make this happen. And so thank you very much for the great work that you do. Once again, thank you for having me, and have a great conference.
Life is full of many opportunities. You just need to touch life today.
The next speaker is somebody that I personally hold in very, very high esteem. She was supposed to be our keynote speaker yesterday. And those of you that were here, you will recall that she actually made a recording and sent it to us from her because she was in the air at that time. So she sent in something that all of us enjoyed tremendously yesterday. It was an eye-opener. What she said today, since she couldn't come yesterday, she was going to be a part of this. Indeed, she's a very, very special lady. She's at the arrowhead of Google business in Nigeria and in West Africa. And I know that at that level, she's advocating for Google's involvement in a lot of things across Africa. She has been able to successfully ensure Google begins to do tangible things in our nation. And it's indeed a privilege for us to be able to have her this afternoon. Let me see her. Because of time, we don't want to run through the intimidating CV. She completed her degree in computer engineering from Obafemi Awolowo University with a first-class honors. She obtained a postgraduate degree in computer science from the University of Cambridge before she went for her MBA at the Lagos Business School. She's a recipient of the London Business School Global Women's Scholarship. She received 2 scholarly awards from the University of Cambridge. In 2012, she was nominated the IT Personality of the Year. She's globally reckoned as one of the top 100 women to watch all over the world. It is indeed a privilege for me to welcome my darling Juliet. Please, a round of applause.
His name is Murphy. During one of his interviews, he said, leadership is about making what seems impossible possible. It is about changing the perception of what reality is. Reality is what we make it. It is for us to change. I'm going to repeat that. He said, leadership is about making what seems impossible possible. It's about changing the perception of what reality is. Reality is what we make it. It is for us to change. I think that's a very, very powerful statement because it speaks directly to the heart of what leadership is about, which is around taking full responsibility for creating my own reality as well as inspiring others around me to create powerful realities for themselves. If we look at our country today, right, there are a number of challenges. And some people may say the future, well, people have different perceptions of the future. Some people may say there's no hope. Some people may say the future is bleak. Some people may say which way Nigeria, which way forward, etc. There are different challenges. However, there are also opportunities. And part of the role of leadership is to be able to show possibility where there seems to be impossibility. And this starts by creating a big and very clear vision. And the last speaker really spoke about this. A lot of us would have heard the word vision used a number of times, but not everybody actually makes that deliberate effort to create a vision for ourselves. It actually works, and it's very powerful. Whatever stage of life you're in, it's really about thinking, what do I want my life to be about? What do I want to achieve 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 months from now, when I'm 50, when I'm 60, when I'm 40? What legacy do I want to leave behind? What legacy do I want to create? There's a quote by Helen Keller, and it says, the only thing worse than being blind is to have sight but no vision. It's very important that we spend time to really think about what is my vision, and also inspire people around us. It could be, if you're a head teacher, for example, you know, the members of faculty, or if you're a teacher, the students in your class, to also inspire them to create strong visions for themselves. A vision is just really a statement of something that we want to attract in our lives sometime in the future. And it's important for this to be bold. If we think about Google, the global multinational that we know about today, Google was started by Stanford University students. They were still students when they started the organization. And they had this idea that they wanted to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, which is actually the vision of Google at the moment and its mission. Now, you can think about how bold that is. How can you say you want to organize the world's information? Isn't that crazy? Today, because we're familiar with a lot of developments, it may not seem as crazy as it really was at the time. But remember that this was over a decade ago, right, before things developed the way they have now. But they had that very clear vision to organize the world's information. If they had even said to organize American information, that would have been crazy. If they had said to organize Stanford University information, that would have been crazy. But they said to organize the world's information. And guess what? That is exactly what's happening today. That vision is being realized. But if they did not articulate it back then, if they did not have that clarity and that audacity, they wouldn't have been able to create what we know as Google today. Now, if you go on Google search, you can access the world's information. Even Google Maps. In Nigeria, just like anywhere else in the world, you can go on Google Maps and you will get directions. When I was coming here, I was coming from Ikeja, I put Billingsway Oregon on Google Maps, and it gave me directions with voice navigation. So that mission, and in everything that Google does, that mission is very clear. Even entertainment information on YouTube, so YouTube is owned by Google as well. So entertainment information as well, Nollywood movies, you'll find them on YouTube. And then a lot of other types of information, business information and so on. So that's one example. Even Microsoft. At a point in time, the vision was a PC on every desk. Today that may seem like, yeah, of course. But when that vision was created, we were really far from it. It was bold, and it could have been regarded by many as crazy. But they were able to, for the most part, achieve it. Right now, the technology revolution has moved on a bit, and there's a lot more reliance on mobile phones and mobile devices. What is your vision for your school? There are no limitations.
The reality today is that with advancements in technology, there is in many ways a level playing field. If you think about it, with a smartphone now, you have access to the world's information at your fingertips. Your students have the same information. So a student or a faculty member that has a smartphone and access to the internet has access to exactly the same information that your counterpart at MIT or Harvard University or University of Cambridge has. So technology has democratized access to information, and it has brought it to the power at our fingertips. And this is incredibly powerful, and there's so much that can be done with that. It also means that there's practically anything you want to learn that you can't by going online. There's hardly any subject matter today that does not have either an article, a video, a webinar, a tutorial that exists online, mostly for free, in some cases maybe for a subscription fee. We should be taking advantage of these resources. Even in my job today, there are times I come across new concepts because things are always changing. Technology moves very fast. There are times I come across new concepts. And what I do is I go online to search, what does this mean, or what is this, or tutorials on this, or a template for whatever it is I'm trying to achieve. It can really give us a head start. In many cases, we don't have to start things from scratch anymore. There's a lot that is already available that we can use to get a head start, and so that we move faster. And we should be encouraging the people in our environment, the people we're responsible for, the students in our classrooms as well, to embrace technology. There's so many free resources, free training opportunities. As Google, one of the things that we've pledged is to provide free digital skills training to 10 million Africans in 5 years. So far, we've trained 5 million. It's a combination of classroom training and online training. If you go to digitalskills.withgoogle.com, you'll be able to get information on the training. People can take the training online, and the training modules are actually customized to be able to be accessed via mobile phones, even low-spec feature phones. So the modules are very light, right? So that people can also access them via their mobile phones. So please, this is something that you can take advantage of, and the people within your communities, in your schools, can also take advantage of. As part of that, we are also training 200,000 developers. And these are current and aspiring developers. So these are not necessarily, they don't have to be people that are already technology experts. But if there's an interest and a desire to learn, then people are welcome. There's an Africa Scholarships program that we're running that offers this training in partnership with Andela and Udacity. All this information is available online. If you go online and you type Africa Scholarships Program, you'll be able to see this. Or Google Digital Skills Training, you'll be able to see this, and people can register and apply. So that is one thing that it's worth noting. The fact that based on the advancements we have today, there's nothing that you create as a vision that you cannot work towards. One of the concepts we talk about in leadership is our belief system. There are two types of beliefs. We have limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs. As you can imagine, limiting beliefs are all the things we tell ourselves about why certain things are not possible, why things will not work. Oh, in this school, nothing ever works. Or because we're not in this location, nobody will answer us. Or because we don't have people in government, we can't, we're not going to get what we're looking for. Or one thing or the other. This could be personal as well. And then empowering beliefs, on the other hand, are the reasons we give why things are possible.
We have the drive, we have the talents, we can learn. We have a good crop of students. We're determined. We can work hard. We have what it takes. Those types of beliefs that things are possible. And indeed, more and more we're seeing evidence of things that you would not expect, but based on what's now available with technology tools and the prevalence of those tools in the digital world that we live in right now, we've seen many things come to life. I'm going to give a few quick examples. I'll start with the story of a gentleman called Juliet. This is a javelin thrower in Kenya. He was from a very modest family. He couldn't afford to get a coach. He wanted to be an athlete, a professional athlete, but he couldn't afford to get a coach. So he was training by himself. He got online and found out that actually there were videos of javelin throwers around the world and how they trained online. A lot of world champions, etc. He saw them training online. And so he started to watch those videos and incorporated that into his own training regimen. He mentioned in one of his interviews that he didn't have any coaches, but those videos were his coaches. Because by watching those videos, he got access to world-class training. Guess what? A few years after that, Julius Yego won the Olympic gold medal for javelin throwing. The Olympic gold medal. This is a poor person in Kenya that couldn't afford a coach. But because of technology, he was able to bridge that gap and get the knowledge and the expertise he needed for himself. These are ways that we can expand the quality of the learning beyond the classroom. These are ways that we can enrich our students. Even as teachers, we need to continually be up to date with in our fields of expertise. And tools like Google Scholar provide access to the latest articles, research, etc. on different topics. And so these are tools that we should take advantage of. We should really try to bring technology close. If it requires attending a training, let's make a commitment to just attend the training and start to use technology more, because it's going to help you to be a lot more productive. It's going to make a lot of things easier than many resources that we can use. Another story, we're finding that the reality around digital growth is very real, even in Nigeria, and people are starting to do amazing things from a very young age. I don't know if some of you are familiar with the story of two young Nigerians. They started when they were 7 and 9. Their names are Osheni and Anishe. They actually they started coding, computing, just as a hobby from an early age, and they developed a web browser at the age of 9 and 11 respectively, which is available right now on the Google Play Store. We've seen people do amazing things across all ages. And so my invitation to you as part of this leadership conversation is, one, to create that bold vision, and then to leverage tools and resources that are available to really make that happen. In addition to information, through technology and online, there are collaborative networks where we can interact with like-minded people. There are discussion forums where you can post questions, etc. And so there's a lot of empowerment that is possible that we should really, really be bringing closer and make an integral part of how we do our work. And so, once again, I'd like to just say it's really great to be part of this event. It's very inspirational to see what's happening, to see the magnitude of the exhibition, the conversations, etc. And as I started, we have the job as leaders to decide how we're going to shape reality. And it starts by making a decision, by creating a very clear vision and going after it with an empowering belief that things are possible. And then leveraging resources around us to actually make that happen. So thank you and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Juliet. Just before you go, let me invite Mr. Sojiro Yawoye to make this, joined by Mrs. Sadeshi Sayo and Mrs. Sojiro Yawoye. And then please, can we have a representative from Lagos District 1? Actually, they produced the most outstanding students in WAEC this year. Please, a round of applause for that wonderful district. Please, one representative, please, to join us here. And one representative from Queen's College, please. And then the CEO of Supreme also to join us here, please, to represent the private educators. Somebody from Queen's College, then District 1.
Sorry?
Mrs. Akoro. Please, we are honored to have Mrs. Akoro. A round of applause as she comes. Okay, yes, yes, okay.
Trying to spread out.
Yes, Mrs. Akoro, come this way, yes. Okay.
We'd like to give this award to you on
Thank you
behalf
very
of
much.
TOSSE, in
Thank you.
recognition on behalf of TOSSE, in recognition of your support for education and growth of education in Nigeria and beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Juliet.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. We're set to go on. One major paper more, and then a very, very active and interactive Q&A.